What's up, guys? I think the best marksman to rank up with right now is Moskov, whether you're playing trio, 5-man, or solo queue. Mainly because he's the only marksman that's really good at split pushing, but at the same time, when a team fight happens, he can back up right away whenever he wants because of his ultimate, as long as it hits an enemy. And it's actually easy to land it during team fights since there are many enemies and you have vision on them. And there are two builds that are effective on it, critical or attack speed. Both work well on Moskov, so you already have options just from the build. In this first game, I went for critical since the enemies were squishy. I actually wanted to use Inspire as my battle spell, but I decided to play it safe and went with Purify instead. Because if I get hit by Selina's arrow or Aurora's combo, Inspire won't save me, and Moskov's damage is already painful even without Inspire when he's on a critical build. Here, I waited for Aurora to use her second skill before fighting her, which already gave me the advantage. That's why you really need to know when to engage, especially when you're hiding in the bush, since that gives you an even bigger advantage. Badong actually did some shadow boxing here, but he's still the one who got beaten up. I made a mistake here. I didn't see Aurora, and I was surprised when it suddenly started raining ice. Good thing I was able to recall right away. In most cases, attack speed is still the better build. That's because Moskov's first and second skills go on cooldown faster whenever he's attacking an enemy. And with attack speed items, not only does his attack become faster, but it also makes him harder to catch since his skills reset quickly. Every skill of Moskov is extremely useful for him, which is why I consider him the best marksman right now. Not necessarily the strongest, since you can argue that Wanwan might be the strongest, but she's almost always banned. Meanwhile, Moskov is almost never banned in today's meta. I even had time to make a cup of coffee when I got hit by Selina's arrow here. Critical build is really good when the enemy doesn't have any tanks, because if they do, they'll just build blade armor and dominance ice, and that makes it really hard for the critical build to work. With attack speed, it's still countered by blade armor and dominance ice, but not as bad as crit. Attack speed is also strong because of Demon Hunter Sword, which is great for shredding high HP enemies. But even if all the enemies are squishy, it's not wrong to go for attack speed instead of critical, because like I said, his first and second skills cool down faster with that build. Not to mention, it's also better for pushing turrets since basic attacks can't crit on turrets. And the reason I said Moskov is really good right now is because he's actually strong against assassins and utility junglers, which are both meta at the moment thanks to his first and second skills. And of course, because of the flexibility of his build. And he's also strong in both team fights and 1v1s, which is rare now since only a few marksmen are still good in 1v1s. Most of them are only strong in team fights. Even Granger, who I once said was also good in 1v1, falls short against Moskov, especially in the late game. I don't know if you've been watching MPL, but in MPL PH, what I've noticed in recent matches is that Moskov actually wins games, even though he isn't a priority pick. I was about to recall here, but the enemy Lucas played aggressively, which actually helped me since it made me react and notice that Lunix was already there. I highly suggest that if you can't burst Lucas down when he's in his ultimate form, don't fight him because he has a huge advantage in that state. Just run away. Think of him like Argus with immortality. You'll only end up at a disadvantage if you fight him and fail to burst him right away. So in this game, I went with attack speed build, and in both games I was using the Marksman emblem with Master Assassin to further increase Moskov's advantage in 1v1, since he's really good at split pushing. Even in tournaments, he's the only marksman you'll see pro players actually using for split push, and we all know tournaments are usually focused on team fights. That's mainly because of his ultimate, which I can say is extremely important even in solo queue. Especially if you love split pushing and can't fully trust your teammates in team fights. The only problem is, it has such a huge impact when you fail to land his ultimate. I actually made a mistake here and was about to get killed by Badang, but of course my teammates wouldn't let themselves fall behind. So naturally, they all dove in and died as well. This is actually the best Lancelot I've ever seen. Maybe it's because that hero always gets banned, so he's already lacking practice. Anyways, join our membership. There are lots of perks. And the good thing is, you'll have a better chance of reaching Immortal here than the game itself. The two deadweights on the team finally started making some noise.
Witness your destruction!
When you're using Moskov, you need to understand that his power spike is in the mid to late game, so don't try to go head-to-head with the enemy Marksman early on. Honestly, there are lots of Marksmen that can make things difficult for him in the early game. At any point, though, you can maximize his ability to split push, because it's really annoying when there's an enemy Moskov who keeps split pushing the whole time, and then instantly backs up in team fights no matter where he is. But most of the time, I can find a way to deal with it by predicting where he's going to split push and killing him right away.
Destroy the turret.
My hatred is unyielding.
You have slain an enemy.
So in this game, we actually had the lead and could have finished it. But once I died in the top lane, since the enemies were waiting to ambush me, that's where we lost. Because I was the only one the team could really rely on. Well, that's just reality. It's really hard to carry 4 teammates, especially when they are trio and all of them are useless. Yeah, it always happens. Just like in this game, we should have already lost. I really thought it was over, because the enemy could have just turret locked. But instead, they focused on killing me, and that actually gave us enough time to prevent them from ending the game. My ultimate here was a bit unlucky. The enemy was already dead before it even hit. And Zilong was really strong in this game, which is actually something you rarely ever see from players like that.
Suffer, lament.
You have slain an enemy.
I will bear all of it.
I just took the opportunity to turret lock here because we might lose again.